Hey everyone, it's Darren. Welcome. Today's video is the fourth in a series of four videos on how to move data in and then back out of Excel again. The first video was all about bringing data in from different file types, different systems. Second one was bringing data in from web pages. You see tables on web pages, how to get those. Third video was all about how to send data out to people in different file types so that they can get it into different systems. And this is the fourth video. This video is about how to get data to people in a way that doesn't overwhelm them, doesn't overload email systems, gets people what they need, but also maintains any confidentiality issues, maintains business proprietary data, that sort of thing, as well as making sure, of course, that they can read it, which is often a problem. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Here I have a spreadsheet that you probably recognize if you saw my electoral college email. This has a lot of tabs to it. If you look down here on the bottom, we've got a whole lot of tabs. Uh, all the formulas here you can see are pretty ugly. And let's say that somebody asks, in this case, because I have the data here, somebody says, "Hey, I want to see the percentage of population per electoral college vote broken down by state." Uh, and well, look, I happen to have that here. Do you just need that for 2020? Okay, I can do that. Uh, so I could send them this entire workbook, and they would hate me. They don't want all of this stuff. Uh, they don't care what happened in 1790. They don't care about the percent of population in the country. They're asking for a specific piece of data. So let's give them that specific piece of data. Okay, so I have the data here that they want, and what they're looking for is probably column A, B, and Z. So they don't want all these other tabs. So why don't I just copy all this over? So I'll just select the worksheet and do Control C, come over here to a new workbook, put it in here, do Control V to paste it. And they don't want all this stuff here, so let's just go ahead and get rid of all of that. And we'll just right click that, delete those. And this is what they want, right? No, they're gonna not be happy with this. Take a look at the cell results there. That gives a formula that I copied over, as opposed to copying over a an actual data point. Now it works because if you look in here, inside the square brackets is the name of the Excel file that I took them from, and I happen to have that open in this computer in the current directory and everything. But if I were to email this file to somebody, they're going to open it. It's not going to have that file. It's not going to work. So we can't just do that. Well, then why don't we just do this? We'll just do Control A, copy, then we'll do paste special values, and now we have just the numbers. So that's all great, right? Not really. And in fact, there's two problems here so far. So if I send this out to somebody and they receive this, if any of that data was at all confidential or classified or sensitive in any way, business proprietary, whatever, somebody comes in here and they do Control Z, they get all of that other information back. So we can't copy all of that over like that. So what do we need to do instead? Well, you start off by opening up a brand new file. We're not going to save that. So we're going to open a brand new file here. New file, blank workbook. There's nothing in it. Then we go over to the file that we are trying to copy from. And just to make life easy for people, we're just going to copy the parts that we know they care about, which is those three. And we'll do Control C to copy that. Then we'll go over here to this other workbook. And we don't want to copy in anything that we don't want them to see. We don't want to copy the formulas at all. We don't want them to have access to that. So what I do instead is I right click and I paste values, and I right click again and paste formatting. And that gives me just the straight numbers and only the numbers, but it gives me any formatting that I had, any bolds, italics, the number of digits for significant digits for rounding and everything. And now I will save this file and send it to them. Now, this file has never had any information that I don't want them to have. So that means this is a safe file to send them. Now, how do I send it? Well, that's a good question. And that comes to them being able to read the file. You kind of have to ask, who is your audience? If I were to send this to another IT person or somebody that I know is really good with computers, I'd just save this as Excel and send it, and they can deal with it. There's no question there. Uh, that's not always the case. For example, I'm on the board for a small all volunteer nonprofit, and I sometimes have to send out these files. And people just use their own computers, their own phones, whatever, to look at this. It's normal. Uh, but what ends up happening is if I sent this file as a XLSX file and I sent it out, about half the group would be able to read it, maybe two-thirds of the group. Anyone with a Windows computer could read it. Anyone with an Android can read it. People who are on an iPhone typically can't read it. The same if I send a newer format Word file, the docx file. People on iPhones, in my experience, have trouble reading them. So what you want to do instead is actually save this as the older version. And it never hurts to save it as the older version as long as you don't have so much data that you're exceeding the space limit. So what you do is you just do save as, and over here, instead of XLSX, come down here to Excel 97 to 2003 workbook, XLS, pick that. And then just give it whatever name you want to give it and save that. And a whole lot more people can read that. It will be able to be imported into a lot more programs than the SLXX files. Because that format's been around for so long, pretty much everybody can read it now. So your other option actually is to come over here to export and export it as a PDF file. Now, PDFs are great read-only files. They're great for reading. They're terrible for editing or updating. Uh, Even the better PDF editors are kind of lacking, in my opinion. The whole PDF file format was really created really as a read-only format. It's a way to send stuff out that anybody can read. The PDF format was created when you had this world of Apple people and this world of IBM people, and they couldn't really talk to each other at all. And Adobe made this one program that actually works in both sides, and that's where PDF came from. Now you can do more with it than you ever could, but it's still not great. But if all they ever have to do is read it, if they're going to be reading this on iPhones, on Android phones, on Windows, on Mac, on who knows what, yeah, go ahead and send it as a PDF file. That's fine. If they have to calculate with it, if they have to pull the data back out of that spreadsheet and do something with it, I'd send it XLS. Okay, so we kind of skimmed past one of the concerns here that I want to go back to, which is confidentiality and sensitive information. Now, that unfortunately is something that you hear about problems all the time when you hear about data breaches. Uh, People will do things like, okay, well, I don't want them to know about these, so I'm just going to, um, I know, I'll just change the color. There, those ones are gone. And of course, they're not. You could either just undo it or go change the color back. And people get in trouble that way all the time. Uh, the same thing with where I first copied over the whole worksheet and then got rid of the stuff I didn't want them to have. That often creates problems. So remember, you always want to take your data, copy it, open a brand new workbook that you've never done anything in before, paste special values, paste special format, and then they won't get anything that they're not supposed to have because Excel keeps change logs back a long way. So you can't just delete from the original sheet and send to that or anything like that. You actually have to open it, copy it to a new sheet as values and format. And then you have to worry about what format to send it. PDF is great if they're reading only. If they have to edit, send it as XLS. In a Word, send it DOC. It's the same thing, just DOC instead of DOCX. And then people should be able to read it. If there's problems reading it, you might need to get some IT people involved to help figure out, I'm trying to get this data into this other program. I do cover that some in the third video in this series, and there's links to all the videos down in the description. Uh, so feel free to check that out. It'll give you some ideas of where to start. If that doesn't work, I said you might need to get an IT person involved. But generally, this is all that's involved in getting them to people. First rule is security. Make sure they don't get what they aren't supposed to get. Second rule is accessibility. Make sure that the stuff they're supposed to get, they can actually use the way they need it. Uh, Hopefully you learned a lot from this. If you did, please hit like and subscribe. The buttons are right down at the bottom of the screen here. Also, I do have a Patreon page over at patreon.com/data analysis excellence. If you could help out there, that would be great. Membership start at just a few bucks a month. And look forward to seeing you again next time.